co-commentators. I'm going to be a little bit all over the place during this. Apologies in advance. Okay. Co-commentators, you guys are live on stream. Are you
Hello.
seeing the marathon stream? Is
Yes.
it
So,
acceptable
well,
in any way?
yeah, no, that looks totally fine to me. We could see both people. We got the timer,
Okay.
and we got, yeah, that looks good to me.
All right. Chat is Are you able to hear the co-commentators? I don't know if anyone's active in chat right now.
Here, let me unmute the stream and see if I can
Yeah.
hear myself. Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay, and I think we'll start with the audio for Singnng, aka Singing Muffin, and if we need
Okay.
to, we can change that around later on. I haven't said anything in the bot yet, so let me do that real quick before we get started.
Oh, okie dokie.
For sure. And oh gosh, where's my Nightbot control panel? Okay, Bunny's stream is gonna go away for just a second while I change one of these Nightbot commands.
Okay.
Take your time.
All of the current runners. And SING, NNG, and all that stuff. BunnyP0werSR. I believe I spelled those correctly.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, this is definitely plus RNG as far as I'm concerned, but I think I'm all set.
All right, awesome.
So, if the runners can hear somebody, or if
Yeah,
whoever
so
can
what we'll
count
do,
me in.
we'll start with a quick introduction, then I'll hop into their voice channel and just do the countdown for them, and then I'll come back and we'll start the commentary. So yeah, this is Gravity Rush for everybody watching. This is a really fast-paced kind of 3D movement action game where we play as Cat, and we'll be moving around and playing through the game real quick. So our two runners, Singnng and Bunny, have been really consistent runners in our community, and they are pretty close in skill level, which should provide for a very, very entertaining race. You're going to see a lot of different things going on. So I am Steve the Wizard, by the way, in case anybody didn't know. And
I am the Googe42. I'm going to be his co-commentator. I used to be an active runner of this game, but just recently came back.
yeah, so we hope you guys enjoy. So I'm going to hop into the other Discord channel, get them a quick countdown, and then I will come back and we'll start. So
there's going to be a lot of tech we're going to be throwing at you pretty early on, because there's a lot of tech going on all at the same time as far as the speedrun is concerned. Our primary form of movement in the game is what are called gravity kicks, where, because the way that you move in this game is you like shift gravity in different directions, and that's sort of her superpower in the game. And she uses that to like kick people, and that's our primary form of movement. It's gravity kick.
okay, so we're starting.
Start the timer?
Yeah. All right.
Oh, damn, it's going to be in red the whole time.
Whatever. All right, so yeah, now we're starting it up. So Goose just talked a little bit about gravity kicks. Yeah, this first part we're just mashing the apple. The beginning of this game is a little bit of a tutorial section. So we're just gonna be kind of going through like predetermined cutscenes and a little bit of movement before we can start actually getting into the really interesting stuff. But the beginning of the story is Cat waking up with amnesia. Classic kind of beginning to a story. Don't know what's going on, and we got to figure out all the stuff that's happening. So at the beginning, we're going to start by doing settings. We want to max out camera sensitivity here. because that's going to allow for us to move the camera as quickly as possible. Some people do it a little bit later, as long as you're going to do it at some point in the tutorial. But you can see we start this little skip where Muffin and Bunny walk over the garbage can, and then that allows us to skip going around to the stairs and things. So even the very beginning of the game, we got a cute little skip going on.
Because they locked off and jump right at the start of the game. You can jump during the game, but they locked it off at the very beginning for some reason.
Yeah, you pretty much have everything locked off. All you can do is move. So we meet this guy. Audwin is his name, and we need to save his kid. We don't know why. He just said, "Come help me." You're one of those shifters. And so now we're trying to. I don't know. This man's strong enough to pull a whole grate off of the sewer. Like that's pretty insane. Oh yeah, let's be real. But you're just kind of getting introduced to the world and walking around, and as you can see, there's not too much to speed this up, but there are a ton of speed techniques that we are going to be talking about in this game. There's going to be a lot going on and a lot happening really quickly. So kind of what happens is, like, this part's a little slow, then it gets really, really fast, and then it, like, slows down again, and so we'll try to get in as much as we can, and hope you guys will enjoy what you're about to see. So
like I said in the beginning, when Steve was giving the countdown, our primary form of movement, once we actually get it, is gravity kick, which doubles as an attack and a really fast movement option. So once we get that unlocked, we can talk more about it. But yeah, go ahead. I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, of course. Well, right now we're just skipping a couple cutscenes. Interesting thing about cutscene skips in this game is that there are major cutscenes that they have a certain place in which you can skip them, and it doesn't actually have anything to do with load times or anything like that. It's literally like there's a visual or audio cue for each cutscene. And so we had to kind of learn what those were. And then there are other cutscenes you can just skip instantly. There's no real, like, understanding as to why it is that way, but, you know, it's just so, like, there was when he said Yuji, it was at the end of the echo of Yuji and other things like that.
We all have these, like, weird, like, audio and visual cues just to tell us when the cutscene is able to be skipped, basically.
Alright, so now we have the shift mechanic, now that you can see on Bunny's stream that he's starting the shift. So these platforms will come up at a specific time, so what you can do is just start shifting in the direction that they're gonna be, and then they'll just appear in front of you, and then some of them you have to jump to. But this is how the game introduces you into, like, the shifting mechanics. So we still can't do everything that the game, like, all the options that are available to us, like we can't slide, we can't kick, we can't fastball or do anything like that yet, but very shortly, once we get past, like, the first Nevi fight, we'll be able to do all of the different things that the game allows us to do.
Nevi, by the way, are the primary enemy in the game. They're basically these little blobs with, like, crystals on top of them. Those crystals serve as their weak points that you gotta kick at to do damage to them, and they're pretty much the only enemies you see during the game. So you'll see a lot of them, and you'll know them when you see them.
Alright, so Bunny's triggering this cutscene. It's going to be as soon as you see Yuji's hand, you can trigger that cutscene skip. And then it looks like Muffin's just about to get there too, and then we got another cutscene skip. So I guess let's talk about a couple of things. So the rapid gravity kicking, just to explain to everybody kind of what it is, because you'll see it quite a bit, and it'll be hard to explain because it happens really fast. But basically, each time you connect a gravity kick, you can instantly cancel gravity and reactivate it, and then do another kick. There's also double kicking, which can happen when you kick an enemy from especially long range, and you press the kick button as soon as it connects. There's a very short window. You can get 2 long range kicks in to happen instantly, which allows us to one-shot really, like, pretty decent, powerful enemies that have a good amount of health. So you'll see them try to utilize double kicks and rapid gravity kicks on pretty much everything in the game, and we'll point it out kind of when it happens when they do it well. So now we're chasing this crow that is eventually going to lead us to Raven, and you just kind of have to hit the checkpoints where the crow is. So there's, like, the one, and then they get to the lamppost, and then you'll see Bunny just kind of has to wait for the crow to catch up to him.
There's a lot of sections of this game where you're chasing something, but what's funny is the game just kind of only checks to see if you've hit these checkpoints, and not so much that you're, like, following these things. So a lot of the time when we're chasing something, we'll end up at the point that they arrive at before they do, so it's quote-unquote chasing.
Yeah, but you just kind of wait around, and then there's also other times where we'll have like auto scrollers and checkpoint chasing that we'll use to collect gems. So here we have the first Nevi fight coming on BunnyP0wer's side. So you can see here we don't have the ability to use much of our skills yet, so he's just doing these what we call forward kicks, where he's jumping, holding forward, and kicking, and that's the fastest way that we can take care of those Nevi.
I call them forward aerial. No.
Yeah, if you want to go with that. So what he's about to do is the little straggler that appears on that window there, if he starts the kick and then is able to reach the straggler and kill it before there's a little tutorial that spawns that completely skips the tutorial, and then it gives you about a 13-second time save. So that's something where you have to aim and preemptively kick to where the straggler is going to spawn before it actually spawns.
You can see that Muffin missed the straggler skip, so now he has to go through this whole cutscene thing and waste time, basically. We don't like that. We like going fast.
Yeah, definitely. And so Bunny did another technique that Muffin will be using soon called gravity pumping, where basically when we use a gravity kick, we cancel gravity a little bit early during the kick, and we maintain momentum of the kick without using gauge. So what that allows us to do, because this is the beginning of the game, we don't have a ton of gauge, we can actually get a lot more distance out of the little bit of gauge that we have.
And right now, Bunny is still ahead, so if we're not, we can go ahead and go to his audio.
Yeah,
Just let me know for the stream.
So, right now, Bunny we did gem collection where, like, you'll see Muffin. Basically, this is all just movement, but what's really convenient is the gauge comes back right as soon as you get to the TV. Like, when you trigger that part in the TV and it changes screens, you refill your gauge, so you'll see, like, Muffin's gonna get really low on gauge right when he gets to the TV, but then as soon as it triggers, it just brings it back. So there's a lot of little convenient... Oh, yeah, sorry.
Your gauge, by the way, is the blue circle on the UI in the upper left. The blue is your gravity gauge. That determines how much you can shift gravity. And the green gauge is obviously your health, because health is a thing.
And now we have the debt glitch, so this is one of the most interesting glitches in the game that BunnyP0wer is using, as well as Singnng's about to do. Basically, if you are upgrading the bar that fills, at the very last few frames of the bar filling, if you swap to some other upgrade on the screen, then it will upgrade the thing you switch to instead of the thing you start on. And so as you can see, those specials are all just called question mark, and they're locked behind, but you can see Muffin right now, he's actually switching to it. And it allows us to unlock all of these specials long before we're about to have them. So Bunny was able to get all 3 specials, and Muffin got all 3 too. Great, yep. That's going to be really good for this race.
And you're actually going to see the first use of one of those skills right now on Bunny's screen. He's using a technique called Gravity Typhoon. This is one of the 3 special moves that you pick up during the game. They're like her ultimate moves, and they're indicated by the red gem in the center of the UI. Gravity Typhoon is by far the best move in the game, and it's the one that we use in the speedrun the most often.
Mm-hmm. And then we also have a Spiral Claw, which is kind of a move that we'll see very shortly, but it's like a kind of enhanced gravity kick that lasts for a really long time, and we use it for... There's a couple of different both movement as well as like damage uses that we use it for throughout the run. And then the last one being Black Hole, where she creates this big spiral that we only really use on one boss, but it's still really important on the one boss that we use it on.
Yeah. A fun thing about this game is we use every technique offered to us in the game at least once during the run. The only exception being gravity slides, because it's not optimal to use those.
It's just not fast enough.
Yeah.
But let's see. So we're in episode 3. Kat's basically building her house. She's gonna be living in the sewer, and she needs, some furniture. So she's going around. She's gonna she first picks up a chair, then a desk, and now she's going for a bed. So this is the bed fight coming up. Basically, what Bunny and Muffin are gonna go for is we want to kill this Lancer. Good double kick coming there from BunnyP0wer, and then we're gonna kill that R, and then use Gravity Typhoon to finish off the rest of the fight. And then we need to carry the bed back. So this is looking like a really good fight. Oh, he missed one of the Nevi, but it's looking like a pretty good fight coming here from Bunny.
Yeah.
And
so
Muffin.
Bunny's picking up his bed right now, and he's heading back to his home. There is there's a bunch of different ways to get to the home because Hexville is pretty open. So it makes for really nice movement just because the world is so open, and it being a open world sandbox kind of game, a lot of the optimization just sort of comes in finding the best routes for getting from point A to point B.
Yeah, picking the best angles, getting the best fights, things like that are really important in this run. As well, like, you can choose to either go toward the manhole or go directly to the house when you pick up the bed, and both are pretty much equally fast because they both teleport you to the same cutscene. So I think Muffin here is going to be going for the manhole instead of the house.
Whereas Bunny just made a beeline straight for the house.
Yeah. Alright, now Bunny is going to be starting episode 4. This is kind of the only real stealth mission in the game where we have to avoid the police officers, and basically what this is we're just going to be moving through the little kind of cracks that are in their vision. The alert level you'll see going up, as long as it doesn't hit 100, it doesn't really matter that much. You just have to wait for it to drain however far it fills, but as soon as it hits 100, then it resets you, so as long as you don't hit 100, you're good, even if you're at 99.
Yeah. And that was up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen for those looking for it. It was only there for like a minute, so it's easy to miss. But yeah.
And you can see we go under the bridge and pick up some of those gems because we want to hit 50 gems before we get to the next fight, so that we can get into Gravity Kick 2, because the level 2 Gravity Kick is going to give us additional damage. It'll let us kill enemies faster, as well as it will increase the speed of Gravity Kick, so it'll make all of our movement better. So as you can see Bunny right now...
Doing right now, yeah.
Alright, you got it, good.
Nice.
And it will give us a negative gem count. This is the first time you'll see that, because he spent more gems than he actually had, so you can see the UI says 0, but if you pause, there will be a negative number there. So we will have to pick up enough gems to eventually get us back in the positives, and at least get enough for the cheapest upgrade to do another upgrade, but at least for right now, we'll be dealing with the negative gems. And of course, having the bonus of level 2 kick this early on and this quickly is incredibly useful for really everything.
Yeah, but this fight in particular, this is Park Fight. Back in the olden days of this run, this was a really big catch-up point in races and runs, because it's just such a complicated fight, and this is the most Nevi that they throw at you at this level in the game. So having level 2 kick to kill all of them as fast as possible is really important. That's why Debt Glitch is so nice.
Yeah, you'll see here we use a lot of the stasis objects around, mostly because we don't have a lot of gauge to work with, and stasis objects allow us to kill those enemies quicker with some stasis, without using all that gauge. But of course we use Gravity Typhoon in this fight as well. You're already seeing how powerful it is even this early on in the game. So good park fight coming out here from Bunny.
Oh yeah.
Alright, and Muffin is working. He's going to take a little bit of a different route, I think, when it comes to this fight. But these stasis objects will break the bones of any Nevi on the first, immediately on contact, which is great because it takes probably around 4 gravity kicks at this level to kill the bones of Nevis. So being able to conserve the gauge by using those stasis objects and breaking the bones instantly is a very helpful use of the move.
And story-wise, what's going on during Park Fight is Sid, one of Kat's only friends right now, who's a police officer, he told Kat, hey, there's this criminal named Alias, and he's trying to steal these gems that power the city. Remember Alias, he'll come up later. And so you do that for them, hence the stealth section. You're trying to sneak around the guards to swap out the gems, when it turns out that Sid was actually Alias, because he's a shapeshifter. Fun stuff like that. And so that's where that Nevi fight comes from.
Yeah.
And now they're on an episode where they're following the insane ramblings of a fortune teller.
So actually what Bunny just did there I want to talk is called a trigger kick. So when the white flyer lands, Kat's put in, it's similar to how we started up the straggler skip. Kat's put in a state where she's active in what she's doing, but you can't control her. So right when the cutscene triggers, you want to buffer a gravity kick during the small window that you have so that Kat moves while you can't control her in the direction that you want to go. Another way to do it, so we call what he did a trigger kick. Sometimes people use spiral claw in those situations, and that would be a trigger claw. But yeah, so that's it's a really difficult thing to pull off, but when you get it, it definitely saves you a little chunk of time there.
So yeah, this part is basically just a bunch of fetch quests where you're like chasing a bird, where you're following this balloon and trying to land where it lands, and like pick up a bunch of balloons that flew up into the air. Like it's just a bunch of excuses to run around with gravity powers, and it's a lot of fun. And what you're seeing on Bunny's screen right now, normally we would loop around one of the pillars back here and grab some extra gems if we were ahead on gems. They started out a little bit behind, so they grabbed those earlier during the stealth section. But just a minor little route difference.
There's also a few little tricks that you can do with the dad. Like, we're going to see Bunny is going to try to push the dad against the wall at the same time that he triggers the cutscene, because that's going to allow you to move just a little bit sooner than you would if you just normally went into it. So we call that dad skip, even though it doesn't really skip anything, but hey. Okay, anyway, moving forward. Oh, he got it. Nice. Moving forward, we're going to go to a part where Kat loses her gravity powers. Now, the really interesting thing is, because we shouldn't have any specials at this point in the game doesn't actually lock us from using specials. So you're going to see us use Spiral Claw for the first time as a way to just skip a lot of this. It's going to be about a 15-second save. So he's going to angle it so he's aiming at the walker enemy in the very back of the room. And then he's gonna, you'll see him do it. Now, he has to cancel this before it ends, because if he doesn't, then the game will actually just leave you floating there, and you can't cancel, like, your normal state, your shifting state. So that would just kind of lose you a very drastic amount of time. It'd be like you'd have to reload the autosave kind of point. But anyway, we got it fine.
And now Bunny's coming up on the longest load time in the game.
Oh yeah, it's a interesting one. So Muffin's coming around the corner. He's going to be doing the same technique coming up, and then we're about to start episode 6, which is one of the most fun and I think interesting episodes combat-wise in the game. There's going to be a lot of different fights coming up. Each fight has a unique strategy with new enemies that we haven't seen before, and then we're going to have a really cool boss near the end of it. So let's see. Muffin's doing the same Spiral Claw technique. Is he going to cancel it on time? Nice.
We'll never know.
Perfect coming out. I mean, we know now. Perfect coming out from both. So Bunny picks up the stasis object there, accidentally throws it, and well, he hits what we call the flub of the frog. So the Nevis have their gems that are kind of the area that you have to kick them to deal damage, and the rest of their body we call flub. Whenever you accidentally miss a gravity kick because you kicked them from the wrong angle and you bounce off, we call that hitting the flub. So he missed his stasis object, unfortunately. But now coming into fight 2, we've got this pillar. So that bone, you can see it takes a couple gravity kicks to break it, but we're able to get that. Now, those pillars actually do shoot out little R enemies, like those basic enemies. If it did shoot one of those out, you actually wouldn't need to kill that enemy in order to progress the story. That would just be something that you would have to just, you could leave it alone at its time.
Yep. So now they're coming up to the second Nevi fight for the game. Or were you just commentating on that?
No, well, Muffin just did that first fight perfectly. He double-kicked the frog and then was able to throw the object.
Nice.
And so hopefully he's going to be able to catch up. He's got to make good plays like that in order to get to catch up to Bunny. Okay, what Bunny's about to be doing, so he finishes this fight, he's going to pick up these gems here. Now, you'll see this little tree off in the background. That's where we normally would want to get Spiral Claw, but because we already have it, we don't actually want to trigger that tree, because it's going to trigger a cutscene that takes about 10 to 15 seconds. However, we do want to pick up those gems. So we get close to where the cutscene triggers, but we don't want to try to trigger it. Okay, he's gonna kick those flyers, and then he's about to reach the last part of the fight, in which we'll pick up a few stasis objects to break some bones, and then just kick some enemies.
Yep.
It's Muffin Typhoon's fight number 3 over there. I guess where Muffin is right now is actually a place where the game kind of wants you to gravity slide, but again, because kicking is faster and we can kick without actually hitting the ground, while still picking up the gems, we just don't want to use gravity slide there. Mm-hmm. Sadly, because I love gravity sliding. It's a really cool mechanic. It's just,
and it's really fun.
Fast enough. Yeah, it's just not fast enough. Okay, good stuff coming from Bunny. Muffin, let's see if he triggers the cutscene. Hopefully not. Hopefully he positions himself properly. Grabs that last gem. Because what's also really annoying is the game tries to force the camera to make you look at the tree so you don't miss it. So you kind of have to fight the camera at the same time that you're kicking away from the tree without trying to trigger it. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Bunny's going to be upgrading gauge twice, and then he's going to want to dead into gravity kick here. Ooh, gets it first try. Nice job.
Nice.
All right, and then he's using Spiral Claw here to trigger the cutscene, because after you beat this boss, if you have the special gauge, the game will buffer a Spiral Claw when you go back to the normal world, and it will like just Spiral Claw you in the wrong direction. So we just want to make sure we don't have Spiral Claw.
Yeah.
By the time we get back, and then as you can see, rapid gravity kicks kind of absolutely destroy that place.
So, story-wise, what we're doing here is we ran into a dude named Gade, G-A-D-E. The names in this game are wacky. Get ready for some more. And he claims to be a creator, quote-unquote, of this world. And he was like, oh, you gotta go into this weirdo rift to fix this part of the town that was lost to time, or something. And so that's exactly what that...
Why is he a cowboy?
I don't know, man. I was just doing a voice.
Okay, let's see. So Muffin was able to... Oh, no, he wasn't. Okay. Put a point in health. See, that's what happens. If you do it a little bit too late, you will upgrade the thing you start on, which of course is not what we want to do, and that wastes a little bit of gems. It's not a big deal, but it just makes it a little bit more difficult. Come on, Muffin.
If you keep doing it over and over again, then it becomes a big deal.
Yeah. You can waste... I've wasted like upwards of like 300 gems on failed deaths and runs before.
Yeah, it can really kill your run if you're not careful with it.
Okay, so right there, Muffin's gonna use Typhoon to break down, use his special gauge. Okay, let's see.
And it also just
let's
helps
get
with
those
the
RGKs in. Not bad. Good stuff. So
And
Bunny
now
in a decent lead right now, but anyway, go ahead.
And he's on the next episode, which is basically just talking to people trying to find this girl named Echo. And as you see right now, he's in the middle of what we call the quiz. Now the quiz is fun because this game was originally developed in Japan, and the way that Japanese games do the PS4 is circle is your yes button and X is your no button, but that's flipped in the West. So when they made the US version of Gravity Rush Remastered, they just swapped all instances of X and circle. And so you saw those 4 little speech bubbles pop up in like the positions that the buttons would normally be. The X and the circle bubbles are switched, which can turn into a speedrunner's nightmare. Because the answers are always the same, they just pop up in different spots every time.
Yeah.
So that can be really annoying, because you have to take a second to be like, oh wait, circle, no wait, X.
Yeah, that's definitely cost me. I mean, if you fail the quiz, you only lose like somewhere around like maybe 10 to 15 seconds, but it's still just like the most frustrating thing. Okay, so as you see, Bunny did what's called the trigger claw there with the end of the runner, because that was like triggering the end of the cutscene, and that allowed him to move closer to where Newt was. So the runner that Muffin's doing is going to be starting soon too, is basically like all you want to do is just move around and stay within his range, because if you get too far away, then Cat's going to lose him, quote unquote. But what we do is we try to pick up as many gems as we can while he's moving. So there's a pretty tight gem route, and we try to pick up those, even though it's only maybe like 30 to 50 gems, depending on how optimally you do it. We want to pick up some of those to make up for the lack of to try to get those upgrades in as quickly as we can.
Also, switching back to my boy Bunny, he's completing what we like to call a whole Newt world, where you finally meet back up with Newt, and they're like, oh, we found a lead on where to find Echo. And Cat's like, all right, I'll pick you up and let's fly around the school for a little while. And we just sort of carry him around the school and collect gems. And it's
Take
super
him on a
romantic.
magic gravity ride.
Exactly. It's so romantic. Then we find his girlfriend Echo is a huge, horrendous Nevi spider thing.
Yeah, so now we gotta save the day yet again. This boss is an auto-scroller. Basically, it's like each gem has like a specific checkpoint to it, so you have to kill the gem before she will, either at the checkpoint or before she reaches the checkpoint. Okay, on the spiral claw here from Bunny. But, I'm assuming that wasn't misinput. But
Maybe.
either way, so Kusiko, or the spider, whatever you want to call her, she has 4 checkpoints, and we need to meet her at those checkpoints. And what we want to do is pick up as many gems as we possibly can while she's flying, or while she's running to the following checkpoint. So as you can see, he voids himself out here. Now he doesn't have the special, so he's going to need to kick over to her. Ideally, we'd want to use Gravity Typhoon, but unfortunately,
Gravity-
he's a Spiral Clawed. He has
Gravity
to kick
Typhoon
over.
goes through walls, which makes it really convenient for hitting her across that checkpoint, because it just goes through that wall instead of having to gravity around. But
Yeah, and so...
it's gonna cost.
Yeah, well, normally we would want to leave, like, and as you can see, he left a little bit of health on her, so you want to leave a little gem so that Gravity Typhoon has something to target when you get to her. But he's still doing pretty well. I mean, it wasn't significant time loss. Now he's going to throw the stasis object, because you just need to, like, hit her with something to get her to move after she stops moving, otherwise she'll just stand there indefinitely. If you look at the top right, you can see there's a Nevi infestation level. That basically is just like, if you hit Echo, it'll increase her infestation level, and if it gets to 100, you'll instantly lose, but, I mean, you gotta kick Echo, like, a lot in order for that to happen.
You have to really try to reach max infestation.
So it's not really something we need to worry about. After he kills the last gem here, she's gonna kind of open up the big gem in her back, and then that's just a bunch of RGKs to finish it off. Ideally, you could kill the boss in like 3 seconds. Let's see how quickly Bunny's able to do it.
A 6.
Not bad. He definitely, bosses stand no chance to the power of RGKs. Alright, so now that's going to be episode 7. Moving on, we're going to be getting to episode 8. As you can see, Muffin just did the Gravity Typhoon strategy we were talking about earlier, so he was able to get her to move and then pick up these gems here.
And now Bunny's just moving on to the final episode in Pleejune, which is a real shame, because Pleejune has the best music in the game.
Oh, definitely.
And this is another rift, so he's basically getting another piece of the town back in place. And everybody, you might want to put your sunglasses on for this section.
Oh yeah, this this is a really fun rift. It's really cool. It's just the visuals, man. Anyway, so we start off with this bridge part, as Bunny's doing right now, and what you can see is that, like, the game really wants you to gravity slide. That's actually what Gabe tells you to use as the power, but, you know, it's a little bit too slow, and since we can kick close to the, oh, he didn't, I guess he might have buffered a special, so he doesn't have Typhoon. Normally we'd want to Typhoon this fight, but because he has, and we upgrade Typhoon to level 2 so that it kills this fight, but I think he might have accidentally buffered a special when he finished Kusiko, so he didn't have it up. But either way, he took care of that fight really quickly. And so, but we kick along the bridge, and it's a little difficult when you're learning the game to be able to do that consistently, but as long as you can angle yourself properly, you can still pick up all the gems while still kicking instead of sliding, and it's a lot faster.
And now we have Singnng coming up to Rift 2 himself, not too far behind Bunny, honestly.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Bunny's got a decent lead, but of course there's a lot of things that can change that. Any failed deaths, any possible deaths, like anything like that, so we'll have to see. He's using Typhoon here to clear out the spiral, or the flower, and the swordfish. So that swordfish is actually a new enemy. Those are one of the few enemies in the game that will actively try to dodge you, so if you kick close to it, it like does this animation where it like moves to the side, and you can like angle your kick with the left analog stick to preemptively like know where its movement's gonna go and hit it still. But for newer players, it's definitely one of the most obnoxious enemies to fight because it will actively try to dodge you. And up here we have a golem. So those guys are stationary. They have 6 different gems on them. And they have like this big punch move that'll do about half your health at level 1 health, and they also have like this kind of get off me move, but with RGKs we kind of just don't really worry about it.
So you can see that while Steve was saying that, Bunny just sort of eked just by the second tree there. We don't want to hit that tree because that activates a cutscene and wastes time, and especially because we already have Gravity Typhoon, which is what that tree gives us. So we just want to try and pass it and not hit it at all. And the window to actually eat by the tree and not trigger the cutscene is a lot smaller than you think. So good on him for making it into that tiny little crevice.
Yep. And he's just about to fight Raven. So this is going to be our first kind of free-moving boss in the game. She kind of acts like Cat. She's a gravity shifter like you. So what he's trying to do is kick her a couple times, and each time after you do a set amount of health, one of the kicks will make her fly in the direction kind of that you're facing, and just like what he did there, you want her to get onto the wall, because this way she gets up and you can get 3 quick kicks in there, and then you can use Spiral Claw. Ooh, that was really, really good. You can use Spiral Claw to finish her off there right after, because she has a certain amount of invincibility after each kick, but that was almost a perfect Raven fight coming out of Bunny there.
And according to Bunny, Raven's best girl, which she absolutely is.
Definitely a great character in this franchise, a very well-known one.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Bunny trying to skip or Muffin over here trying to skip the cutscene and dodges it. Nice.
Yeah.
And let's
Just
see.
barely.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can't see it, but like trust me, it's really frustrating when you hit the thing. Okay, he's about to run out of the gauge.
So now we have Bunny moving to the next section of the game called Endestra. Here we're going to pick up a manhole. Manholes in this game basically serve as your fast travel, because somehow on a set of unconnected islands that are floating in the sky, a sewage system...
Tracks.
But with the sewage system,
no, I know.
But you use sewers as fast travel points to get to and from your home from the sewers. So you want to unlock that fast travel point, because either after this episode or the next one, they're going to teleport us back home, and we want to get back to Endestra to get to the third rift, which is the episode right after. So we want to pick up that manhole because it saves us time.
Alright, so look at him Muffin. Okay, good. He was able to get her on the ground.
Oh yeah,
She
a funny
just
thing.
has to get up.
A funny thing about these free-flowing shifter enemies is when they die, they go to a specific location on the map to die. Like they just go there, and then the little like triangle circle pops up for you to finish them off. So you have to kind of know where it is they go to when their health bar is depleted.
Yeah, Alias kind of does the same thing. They always go to but they always go to the exact same location. So as long as you know where they're gonna go, you can just get your camera ready to go like Muffin just did. So what Bunny did is he just got the bomb that was ticking. We had to get that disarmed. So you go to the trash and then you use shower kicks to break the trash as quickly as possible, and then pick up the bomb with stasis. And now we have to rescue the officers. These always spawn. They always spawn in the same place, and we always do them in the same order, so it's not difficult. The only annoying thing is if the officers... sometimes the stasis, hitbox can be a little finicky, so hopefully he's able to consistently pick them up. Got it. Nice.
I feel like sometimes I'll be right next to them when I go to pick them up, and it still won't pick them up. Like, the stasis hitbox is a lot smaller than it looks when you
the visuals don't match the actual, hitbox of the stasis.
It's weird. And now, for this third officer, you might see Bunny just fast fall for a little bit instead of immediately gravity kicking. That's because when you pick this guy up, a bunch of Nevi start spawning. There's also an airboat in his way.
Yeah, airboat RNG reset. No, our airboats are actually RNG where they spawn. They rarely ever come in handy, but they honestly, obviously they're not too difficult to get out of the way of, but of course, it could be a slight deterrence.
Just a slight inconvenience.
Yes. Ever so slight. So now we have Alias Nevi fights that BunnyP0wer is about to start. So basically, Alias will walk to a location, he's gonna kind of laugh at you, go into the ground, and then he's going to spawn Nevis. Now the only Nevi that you have to kill... Oh, is he close enough to trigger it? Okay, good. The only Nevi you have to kill are the ones that spawn when he disappears. So any other Nevi that are outside of that, you can just leave them alone. But since we have to wait for him to move to the next location, you'll see him going underneath this building here to pick up extra gems, because we want to make up, get as many gems as we can when we can't speed up the game.
Because I think after Alias is when we do our next debt, right?
Yes, that's going to be one of the biggest debts, one of the most costly
debts,
to say the least. Alright, so good on killing that snail. So there are multiple aliases that will appear because they try to confuse you as to which one goes where, but they always end up in the same place, so we just need to know where the one goes that actually matters.
Alias's illusions mean nothing to us speedrunners.
Yeah, we already know. So this is just a lot of RGKs coming out of these Rs.
Yeah. Rs are the little dudes with the head thing. Yeah, they're the little guys basically.
Yeah, all the
ground.
Nevi do have official names that are like in the gallery of the remastered game. Some of them are really weird, so we give them names like frogs and lancers and pillars and things like that, just because it's a little bit more easy. But like ARE is the official name of the base Nevi, that like both the melee one that whips the little thing at you and the tiny ones that shoot bullets at you. Anyway, Bunny is now starting Alias, which Googe likes to say is
Satan backwards, because this fight can be really annoying. He got lucky on the RNG because you want Alias to do that little like showering the air with bullets attack, because that makes him the most vulnerable to a gravity typhoon, and that sort of gets rid of one of his heads. But as you can kind of see, Bunny is really struggling with the auto-targeting. Auto-targeting does not like Alias's two little hand heads. Oh wow, nice rapid gravity kicks there. That was good.
Yeah, he was able to get that fight really clean, which is good because that's one of the most kind of like inconsistent fights. His other options he has if he doesn't do the big shooting attack is he can either teleport away or he can jump to another location, in which case you literally just have to wait for him to finish that animation, because otherwise any typhoon or any kick you try to land just isn't gonna work. It's about, I'd say, based on testing, it's probably like a 70% chance he's actually gonna do the move we want him to. Which is good, but of course that just makes it all the more frustrating when he doesn't do what we want him to do.
And you can see Bunny using the manhole he picked up earlier in order to teleport back to Indestra. Lack of sin.
Yeah, just so we can start up Rift 3 while Muffin over here is polishing off the rest of the Alias and Nevi fights.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got to do this debt. So this is going to be where we debt into Gravity Kick 4. Now, this costs 1,000 gems. This is by far the most expensive upgrade that we need to get in the any percent run.
But it's also the most important.
Oh yeah, because this is like, again, because Gravity Kicks not only increase the damage, so Gravity Kick level 4 only actually increases the damage of a long range kick, but what's most important is it increases the speed of the kick, and that is incredibly important because obviously we're using Gravity Kick to move everywhere, so that's a huge time save overall. So being able to do that debt, because normally we wouldn't be able to get Gravity Kick until probably 2 or 3 episodes after this because of how much it costs, but now with the deck glitch we can just, we only have 50 gems? Alright, well let me spend 1,000 real quick.
Yeah, casually. Alright, so now we have Bunny in Rift 3. Probably
no,
not his
Alias is
favorite.
jumping on Muffin. No!
Oh, no!
Oh, and then he hits the flub.
See, this is why I call Alias Satan spelled backwards, because he's just so frustrating.
Okay, he got him. Alright,
Like, RGKs make the second half of the fight really easy and make it super easy to one-cycle him. It's just getting him to the point where you rapid gravity kick him is just frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, because any of you who might have played this game casually, if you don't kick him fast enough, those heads will respawn and they'll have about half health of what they do initially, but you still gotta just deal with it, and this is mad annoying. Anyway, so moving on to Rift 3, or the Mirage is what this rift is called. Basically, we're in a state we like to call Sick Dusty. So according to the story, Dusty ate some bad cookies, and he ain't feeling too hot, so your gauge usage is incredibly hindered, but your recovery time is also significantly faster. Regardless of what level of gauge or recovery time you have at this point in the run, you will still have the same gauge usage and recovery time in this episode no matter.
Can I get an F in the chat for Dusty so that he feels a little better?
Yeah, you hate to see it.
You hate to see it happen.
You really do. So, anyway, this kind of changes the movement because you basically can't even get a full gravity kick off without completely depleting your gauge, but because it recovers fast enough, you can use the momentum of the gravity kick to let your gauge recover and then start another one. But when it comes to stuff like RGKing enemies, it's really difficult to be able to do because you just have such little gauge to work with that you're going to run out of it so quickly. So it's not like this rift is necessarily super difficult, it just needs to be treated differently than you would any of the other ones.
And the movement, I feel, is a lot more precise, because if you mistime your gravity gauge running out and you try to kick an enemy and it'll cancel right before you hit it and you just kind of go flying off in a random direction. So you really kind of got to be careful and keep an eye on your meter as much as possible just so you don't mess yourself up.
Bro, the shark just destroyed that R in Muffin's run. Nevi can hurt each other, and we do actually try to utilize that.
It's really nice. Yeah, this section that Bunny's at is really difficult just because you're sort of orbiting around this lighthouse that's floating in the middle of nowhere and trying to kill these little tiny flowers before you can fight the boss flower. And landing on this lighthouse with your limited gravity gauge and like it just can get really frustrating. I've had runs where like I'm bouncing back and forth between both sides of the lighthouse trying to land on it to get this flower.
Yeah, in that final version of the flowers, you saw that big, like, close attack deals about half your health at level 1 health, so if Bunny had got hit again, he definitely could have died there. Another thing, the fight that Muffin just passed has what we call spinies, so those are a new type of enemy that we'll see a couple more times throughout the run, and those are actually really important because they're completely invincible until they do that kind of attack where they send out their spikes, and then when they retract them, that's the only time they're vulnerable. So whenever we do those fights, it's important that you pay attention to those spinies and kill them when they're vulnerable. Because otherwise you'll have to like wait for them to do their attack and then like sit there and then you'll go back and then they'll finally become vulnerable again. It usually takes about maybe 4 to 5 seconds.
Muffin
that
also
last
just
tree,
passed the third tree, yeah.
yeah, the black hole tree. Initially when we were actually routing the game until we figured out how busted it was against one of the bosses that you'll see later on, we were like, we don't even need black hole. But
so we would skip it anyways.
yeah, but now we definitely use it, but obviously having being able to just dead into it at the very beginning of the game obviously is incredibly convenient and nice.
And a weird quirk about episode 10 specifically, the Rift 3 episode, is you'll notice that Singnng Muffin isn't skipping this cutscene. That's because all of the cutscenes in this episode are unskippable. Don't know why, they just are.
Yeah, there's very few exceptions to like. There's only maybe like 3 or 4 cutscenes in the whole game that can be skipped, and most of them are in this episode for some reason. As well as like the one that BunnyP0wer is doing right now is also an unskippable cutscene.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah,
it's just a weird
there's
quirk.
no rhyme or reason. The game is just that way. Ooh, nice coming from Bunny. That was very clean.
That was a good episode 11 right there. Speaking of the old route in episode 11, episode 11 used to be really terrible in the old route because before we discovered the debt glitch, we would take any opportunity we could whenever we had like an up scroller or something to collect as many gems as possible. And the gem route for episode 11, based on how much time we had, was super tight. So it got really frustrating for old runners. So now we just routed it out because the debt glitch makes everything so much easier.
And now we have what's called Invisicat. So Bunny's triggered a cutscene and basically that got you into Vendicenter and also voided out using the pillar at the same time. So what he's basically allowed to do is become invisible and move around during the cutscene. So it doesn't actually speed up the game, but it allows us to pick up all these gems here and pick up the manhole during a section where we normally wouldn't be able to move. Yeah. So it's an incredibly cool little glitch that we can utilize to help optimize our gem collection.
Right there. And it's funny because like the camera's supposed to be centered on Gade right there, but like it's all over the place because you're just running around trying to catch the manhole.
Yeah, so he's going to be picking up some extra gems. What's kind of annoying is get into Gravity Typhoon 4 before we get to our next Nevi fight, which is going to take a while to get there. And because we have a negative gem count, the UI on the main screen isn't like able to show a negative number. If you pause the game and look at your gem count, then you'll see the negative amount. But it's just going to say 0 no matter how many gems you pick up until you get back into positive. So it's like you need, because you can pick up about 3, we're going to guaranteed pick up like 300-ish gems before we get there. His gem count should be fine. BunnyP0wer's done enough runs to know kind of what his gem count's going to be, but we need to get enough so that we can detonate Gravity Typhoon 4, and it's just a little annoying that it's like, what's my gem count? It's negative, I don't know unless I pause, and that's going to waste time, so.
Nice double kick from Singnng Muffin.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see how well he does on this boss. And Bunny's about to do what's called the flip clip, where he's going to land, look at that, point the camera straight up, and double tap R1. Cat grabs an invisible ledge and then clips into the pillar. And what this allows us to do is skip the section where we would normally go into the pillar, go out, go back in, go out. Now we can just go straight down because we're kind of in a little in-between space between the inside and the outside of the pillar. we have to lose our gravity powers here in order to progress, because there's kind of like a kill plane that stops us from progressing, that until we lose our gravity powers doesn't disappear. So you'll see him get them back and lose them again. But this chapter we call the Descent, and so we're just gonna, you just kind of have to go down. And Bunny was also able to skip a tutorial with pretty precise positioning.
That was nice, yeah.
With the clip, so that was good on him. And he's
Also,
we're just gonna watch.
Also, just because I know the estimate isn't on the screen and isn't on the stream right now, and because we have a lot of time to kill, this is about midway through the run. So it's a nice kind of break that we get to take, just falling for like a good couple minutes, just in the middle of the run, just to take a breather from all the high action, high paced stuff.
Yeah. So this is actually a great time, I guess, to talk about like kind of the history of the game and stuff, and like the speedrun developments. So I mean, the game came out in 2012 originally on the Vita. There weren't very many speedruns of the Vita version. There were like 2, I think, on speedrun.com that I ever saw. And then when the remastered came out in 2016, I got really interested in running this game, because now I could actually record it on a PS4 and I didn't need like a hacked PS TV or a PS Vita capture card or anything. So I was able to do the first run, and over the years, we've had like the Googe hopped in, and Bunny and Muffin, and then Wired Notes, who's our current, I believe he's second place, and then Alice Action, who's world record holder. And Alice Action and Wired Notes are definitely 2 of the best players in this game.
And they found a lot of the like glitches and clips and stuff that we use in the run.
Yeah, det glitches thanks to Wired Notes. A lot of the routing stuff that happens, Alice Action will do a lot of specific routing, and Wired Notes discovered the deck glitch, as well as one you'll see at the very end of the game called Quiet Cat. That was a very recently discovered one. This flip clip that was actually discovered by a very recent member in our community, the legendary Lee, who was able to figure out a consistent setup. We understood like that the clip existed because there had been videos of it, but we never understood how to set it up until Lee was able to get in there and like test like a bunch of different things and was able to figure out how to do a setup. So we appreciate that. To everyone in the community who's been here over the years to help us route the game and run, just big shout outs to everyone. And of course, any of you who are interested in this game, we have our Discord server. If you need any links, you can always just DM one of us, or find you'll be able to find us on speedrun.com/gr. And this is an incredibly fun speed game. It's really not super hard to pick up. I mean, learning all the really technical stuff will take some time, but even just beating the game quickly is not too difficult. I mean, you're probably looking somewhere around 2.5 hours to 3 hours for your first run, if you've at least learned the general routing. And then within a couple of hours of practice, you can get yourself to like probably a sub like 2 hour to 145 range, without too much effort. So I highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in running.
By the way, Bunny is coming up on probably one of the worst boss fights in the game. It's Raven 2, or Descent Raven. Basically, you're not trying to attack her, you're just trying to get past her and get all the way down to the bottom of this giant hole. And normally, casually, this boss fight sucks. It is so terrible, she does so much damage. You can see, like, Bunny got 2 shot and he's at half health already. But luckily, we were able to find this one little glitch where if you just sort of scoot yourself in between some of the cracks in the bone and the wall, Raven just kind of gets herself stuck on that little spine on the wall and isn't able to follow you down the pit as you further descend. And this is the one boss fight that I have never played the casual way. Like, I was struggling with it when I came into it in my casual run, and Steve just happened to be there, and he's like, oh, you want to learn the speedrun strat to skip this? I'm like, yes, please.
Oh yeah, when we discovered that initially, so I totally forgot to mention Max, who was an incredible part of the initial routing of this game, and definitely put in a lot of effort into like the game when it first came out, and like most of the fundamental routing we have was thanks to a lot of the efforts that Max did, aka Watson is what he also goes by. So when we first were looking at that fight, until he discovered this technique, we were talking about like necessary health upgrades because of how much damage Raven does to you, because like being able to go all 3,000 meters down, or yards, or whatever unit of measurement that is, without getting hit enough times is almost impossible. We were barely able to do it, so we were talking like we might just want to upgrade health to level 3, but because we can get her stuck, we give Raven a little time out in the corner. We're able to just breeze on past this, and now it's just a method of falling down as quickly as possible. Which, one thing to note, you can see they're actually gravity pumping downwards. They're canceling their kicks early. That actually is the fastest way to move straight down. Whenever you cancel a gravity kick, you see the camera kind of zoom out and Cat goes into this weird spinning animation. That slightly speeds her up to the point where, like, covering this 3,000 yards that Bunny is doing, you can save over 15 seconds. Just from gravity pumping versus just kicking straight down until you run out of gauge and then letting it drop. Like, yeah, it's actually a decent amount of time saved from gravity pumping regularly.
Yeah, now we got Singnng Muffin catching up on the Raven 2 fight. You saw that Bunny Power just sort of went straight down and then clipped through the wall, or went through the gap further down, whereas Singnng Muffin actually goes up a little bit and goes through that crack. I'm not sure which way is faster. Steve would probably know that, but...
Well, yeah, the down way is a little bit faster, but it's a little bit more risky. I mean, as you can see, like, Bunny got hit twice, and he was able to get through the crack, but if you're not, like, if you accidentally pick the wrong one, or, like, whatever, then, like, she'll just break out, and then it's, we haven't really routed any farther down the thing. So the up way is, like, usually the more kind of consistent and easier, safer way to do that Singnng Muffin took. And of course, it's not a big time difference, maybe like 5 seconds.
And Bunny, upon hitting the bottom of the crevasse, goes through a cutscene and then is sitting here in this cage, captured by a society of kids down in Batum. Get it? It's bottom of Batum. And this is a nice little bathroom break because this is just a minute of cutscene that you can't skip. But you do have control of Cat, even though she's in the cage for some reason. Which
yeah, you can
really
jump
funny.
and you can move around.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
But
But
if you ever watch me run this game, Cat's just spinning in a circle in the cage the entire time.
But yeah, and then of course if you do want to take a bathroom break, you have pretty much like exactly a minute, so you definitely gotta make it quick. Yeah. But you know, as speedrunners, we're all about optimizing, so we not only optimize in-game, but we will optimize our real lives.
Yep. So Cat escapes the cage, and now comes the second stealth portion of the game. This one's a little more justified because she actually doesn't have gravity powers, because, you know, the first thing you think of when you think of a game about shifting gravity and flying through the air and yelling as you gravity kick around everywhere is stealth section, right? You know, that
Definitely.
really lends itself to stealth gameplay. But since Cat's looking for Dusty in this section, her cat that actually gives her gravity powers, it's much more stealthy feeling because you actually aren't flying through the air yelling at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So, I don't know.
As you can see, Bunny finally got a positive gem count after picking up all of those 25s on the route. So he has what he needs to be able to get the Typhoon Force, so you should see him do that right before he finishes this last section.
Yep. I think there's like 2 or 3 more 25 gems for him to pick up. Or just 1 more, I think. Yeah, there it is.
Alright, let's see if he gets it.
And you can kind of juke some of those wooden ledges that are coming out of the wall by like just jumping into the wall. The wall being at a certain angle will like push you up over the ledge. So you saw Bunny, and you'll probably see Muffin do that a couple times during that section. And now we have Kids Fight.
Yeah, Kids Fight. So this fight is actually the fight that has the most Nevi in the game. It's not necessarily the most difficult fight, it just has the most amount of enemies. So that enemy that he's gravity typhooning right now is what we call a dragon. That's actually a very, very annoying enemy to try to kick because his wings will cover his gems when he flaps them up, and then he'll also like turn around when you break his gems, so it can be really annoying to try to auto-target him effectively. Luckily though, if we route the game, as we've routed the game, we pretty much have a typhoon for every single dragon that appears. So we don't have to worry about it too much. But if you don't have gravity typhoon or something like that, they can be a little bit annoying. As you can see, he's just going around killing the enemies left and right.
Yep. And story-wise, the reason that Cat has come down here is she's helping someone to pick up a letter that she dropped from her boyfriend, Spoiler alert: that boyfriend is dead, but you know, Kat doesn't know that yet.
You
And that's sort of,
really hate to see it.
you really hate to see that happen. But yeah. And then Kat got captured by the kids and like is protecting the kids because she's a hero, and that's just the kind of thing that she does.
Bunny just got hit by a shark when it does that launch attack. You do need to bait out the sharks to expose their gems, but it does like half your health, so you have to be incredibly cautious with the sharks too if you're at level 1 health.
The routing of this fight is pretty loosey-goosey. It's mostly just centered around using that gravity beginning to get rid of that dragon, and then just killing Nevi until you get Typhoon again to close out the fight. Especially just because Typhoon is the best move in the game, and it kills the most Nevi.
Yeah, and that's why we upgrade to level 4 right before this fight, because it very much helps. So it's not even like a big deal as long as you kill enough Nevi to be able to finish everything off with Typhoon. Sadly, the Swordfish had one little gem left, so that was a little bit of a time loss there coming from Bunny. But yeah, that fighting isn't too strict, and the execution's not as important as long as you can kill all the Nevi before you get Typhoon back. Alright, up and coming, we're going to be fighting Nushi. So this is kind of a big giant worm Nevi that attacks the little chillins, and we have to try to save all the kids because we don't like big bad worm guy.
Nushi is annoying.
Yeah, he can be. This first section is basically you need to wait for him to like kind of expose the gem in his head before we can actually deal any damage to him. So that's why you saw BunnyP0wer pick up some gems there. Now he's just going to be RGKing the ever-living hell out of this gem. And then after this, it's going to take us to a section where Raven wants us to hit Nushi to distract him and then bring him underneath these like little fruit things that she drops on him. So actually you can distract him by hitting the bones, which Bunny was able to do there, but it can be really difficult to actually hit the bones because you can't auto-target them, and he's also moving pretty quickly, so trying to gravity kick into something that you can't auto-target that is moving is just a little bit, can be a bit of a challenge, but Bunny will get it the first try. Let's see if he does it again. Nah, I think he's just going to wait for him to bring up the gem.
And he doesn't lose any time by doing that either. Like, he can still get Raven in both of the next 2 fits without.
Yeah, you can get her quickly. It's a little bit faster, but again, sometimes it's like because you can misposition yourself, it might not even be worth the risk. Because it's a very minimal time save, if anything. Alright, now he's going to be just kicking straight down.
And what's nice about this fight, as in most things that have checkpoints, is Raven spawns in the exact same 3 positions. So as long as you know where that is, which I don't, which makes this fight really hard for me, then you can always just sort of kick towards her even before they give you the checkpoint.
Yeah. Just watching Kid fights right now. He's doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good.
Keep it up. And now he's about to be starting episode 15 for Bunny. So this is basically just a platforming section. That is going to be, oh boy. It's a lot of just kind of waiting around for cycles of platforms and, you know, playing and then just jumping. There are 2 cute little skips we have in the last 2 rooms that we'll point out when it comes to them. But for right now, he's just kind of going to be chilling and waiting.
I don't know the official history behind this episode, but I am thoroughly convinced that episode 15 is like the original tech demo that they used as like a proof of concept for this game that they just kind of made into a platforming section and stuck in the game.
Yeah.
I'm like thoroughly convinced that that's what this is.
Okay, nice. Muffin was able to finish off all those with the Gravity Typhoon.
And now he's going into Nushi.
Yeah, he's going to be going into Nushi 1. Well, we just watch Bunny do waiting.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Woo!
Another thing you could do is you could actually press up on the D-pad during this game to go into first-person mode, but whenever you, like, touch the ground or move along the ground, it puts you back into third person. But gravity kicking with first person is honestly one of the most nauseating video game experiences I think I've ever had. It's really, really weird.
Oh yeah, story-wise, what's going on is one of the kids down here in Batum is named Sienna. Good luck trying to spell that without looking at the screen. She basically is the lightning dude from Demon Slayer in that like she doesn't have powers unless she goes to sleep, and then like in her sleep, another creator, quote unquote, speaks through her, and like that creator is sort of giving Kat this fever dream of a platforming section right now to expose things about her past, and none of this story comes into play until Gravity Rush 2. So
Yeah.
it's a really fun section of the game, both story-wise and gameplay-wise, because you're just like, what is going on? I don't know what any of this means.
It's definitely one thing that will like pique your interest, and then like just doesn't do anything with it. And it was so confusing before Gravity Rush 2 came out. It was like, wait, what? What are they gonna do with this? I mean, I don't know if it was like a freedom limitation thing. They couldn't have made the game as long as they wanted to, or like exactly why, but they basically build up all of this like mystery and confusion, and they just don't answer any of the questions that it brings up in this game. So if you haven't already, play Gravity Rush 2 because it does answer pretty much most, if not all, of these questions that you may have. Oh, he doesn't get Bunny Hop.
Bunny
Tries to
missed
go
the bunny
for it.
hop.
But both of the games in the franchise are really fantastic, and they're both
They
really
are.
fun to play. Alright, so Bunny's actually...
Aw.
Oh, he missed it again! Is he gonna fall off?
It.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So basically what he's trying to do is get the very right edge of the shifter so that he can land on that pillar that's on the right side. Right there, he got it that time. So that allows us, instead of walking all the way up to shift back over, like you can see off in the distance, we can just jump to these pillars and then we can walk over and trigger.
It's like 90% of the road. It's really
Yeah, it's really nice. And then upcoming, we're gonna have another big skip that allows that we do a little kind of like turnaround jump that you'll see. We have to jump up all these boxes here, as we see Singing Muffin just starting episode 15. This is probably, I think it's the longest. Well,
Tough
episode
jump right
12 would be the longest, I think, in the game, and then this would be one of the most. These are 12 and 15 are definitely the two kind of longer, not very action-based episodes in the game.
Oh, funny little bit of trivia. Normally, whenever Kat's falling from a high distance, she does this like crash landing animation. Normally, you can cancel that crash landing animation by spamming the evade button, but that is the one part of the game. That one crash landing is the one part where you can't do that, because I think they lock out evading.
Yeah, well, yeah, that you can't input evade. But yeah, if you basically hold a direction and mash R2 whenever you're falling from a great height, like let's say you run out of power, like gravity, or you run out of gauge or something like that, you can hold R2 and she'll just immediately stand up and start walking, which is very nice. Ooh, he almost missed that ledge right there. But we're okay on Singnng's part.
Singnng's doing fine.
Where was I going? But yeah, so that crash land animation, is something that you can't do there. But actually, if you did press triangle, like let's say, while you were falling during that and you can't do anything, it actually would consume your gauge, which means we wouldn't have the special up for when we need it for the next boss fight. So be careful and just don't touch your controller. It's not worth it.
Just don't push buttons during this section. That's all you need to do. Just don't push buttons.
Yeah. But upcoming, we're going to have Nushi 2, and this will be the only time that we use Black Hole in the run. So right now, the game's auto-saving, and we can't trigger the next episode till it finishes that. So you see Bunny's going to be going around trying to get the gems there, and then he's going to use the trigger kick, try to get a little bit more. So now he's heading over to the Nushi 2, and we're going to be using Micro Black Hole, because basically there's a weird interaction where when you use Black Hole, it's going to break the bones of Nushi as well as kill the gems. So basically the bones die, and if it hits a gem and breaks the bones at the same time, the gems will instantly die no matter how much health they have. So you're going to see his health just kind of get chunked, because the closer you are to his head, the more health the gems have. The closest gem to his head actually takes about 7 gravity kicks to kill, but he'll be able to just instantly kill it with Black Hole, assuming he positions himself properly, so it's looking good. Oh, he missed the first one. But you can see how his health just kind of chunked out. So he's going to have to try to kill. He might even just reload the autosave.
Yep, that's exactly what
he's going to be reloading the autosave because Nushi flies so fast that it's going to be hard to catch up.
Nice first try, third room skip by Singing Muffin, by the way.
Yeah, he
got
just,
that.
because Bunny loves to do what we call the bunny hop, where he just jumps for it. But Muffin will play a little bit safer and like land and then make sure he positions himself properly so that he gets it on the first try. So it's a little bit safer coming from Muffin. But that's why we got the bunny hop. Bunny loves taking.
Got the bunny hop.
Okay, this time Bunny's able to get Nushi, get the big gem on the back. That's the one that's the most important. So as you can see, that's only going to take one kick. These other ones are going to take a few more. But you can see he just moves so much, and he moves so fast, that early black hole is incredibly important.
It really does the majority of the damage for this fight.
Yeah.
Other than the RGK at the end.
Oh my gosh, he's almost
about
dead.
to die.
Oh my goodness.
Come on, Bunny.
Okay.
Don't make this happen again.
So now we just have to wait for Nushi because he has to expose his like last gem before we can actually kill him. But what's actually convenient is that the black hole timer is right around when he goes to expose his gem, so we can use that as a visual or audio cue no matter where we are to know when the timing comes. So he's just going around picking up as many gems as we have. The only upgrades we have left is a few more gauge usage upgrades that we want, and then we need to upgrade stasis all the way up to level 4, because when we get to episode 18, we're going to need to carry some sensors, and we want level 4 stasis so that we can pick up all four sensors in one run, and we won't have to go back and collect them later.
Also, story update. We find out that Raven was originally one of the kids caught here in Batum. And like her brother is the dude who's like the chieftain of the society or something like that. And they find this sort of basically spaceship called the Ark, and they're like trying to activate it, but Nushi comes in and says, no, right as they're taking off. So Cat has to stay behind to kill Nushi, while Raven and the kids go off in the Ark, and that's sort of how they get separated on their way back up to Hexville. And yeah. Once Kat gets there, she realizes that a full year has passed because time dilation shenanigans, and we'll get more into that later. But right now, Steve has a clip to talk about.
All right, yeah. So upcoming this episode, we call the Ascent. So you'll see he's going to go to gauge 8, and then he's going to be kicking all the way up. He's going to use a flip clip here, and then basically what's weird is we can't trigger the end of the episode, but we can't actually skip past the first fight. So what Bunny's going to try to do is clip into this wall, then go up, and you'll trigger the letter part where the guy like does a little cutscene. He says like, "Hey, come over here." And then when you actually trigger that, he won't be there because we didn't beat the first fight in order to trigger him to appear. So what Bunny's going to do is intentionally kill himself, and then he's going to trigger the fight. Oh, he's trying to get the flip clip. He's a little low on gauge. Can he get it?
He's getting a little risky.
Up. Boop, boop. Got it. Okay, good.
Attaboy.
So now he ledge grabbed. He's just going to wait for his gauge to refill.
And there we go.
Oh no, we got an auto-save reload from Muffin. Looks like he messed up on Nushi also. You really hate to see it, man. That's okay.
It'll be fine. But basically, the letter that we're going to get to right now, with the cutscene and everything that Steve was talking about, that's the letter that we originally come down here to find. So it's a nice little actual reincorporation of that storyline. But you can see that there was no one there at that checkpoint. And normally, we would just be soft locked here. But if you kill yourself, which Bunny just did. That's the game over screen, by the way. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that. And we reload it. There he is!
Oh man, Muffin's a little low on health. Okay, he's good. I got some close calls on both players' parts in this fight specifically. Nushi is like one of those things where it can be really easy because sometimes you get a perfect black hole and then like you just kill all the gems on his back except the last one, and then it's just one quick kick and you're good. And then other times like you'll mess up a few gems and you'll just like die for it. It can be rather difficult. Okay, so upcoming, he's got this fight. Because he was able to do that skip, he's just able to conserve the Typhoon, and we're just going to Typhoon basically this whole fight. Hopefully he takes care of those Spinies. Alright, we're good. Yeah, he got them all. Good. Nice Typhoon. So that's a letter fight. That's pretty straightforward. It's mostly just another one of those Typhoon fights. And now he's going to be coming up to what we call just the Ascent fight. This is kind of the main fight. in the Ascent, and this is also one of the most kind of difficult fights to do fast. Consistently fast in the game. Basically, there's a lot of orange swordfish. Oh yeah, one thing I didn't mention earlier. So now that we're later on in the game, Nevi have orange
Bunny.
gems. Oh yeah, he's taking some real damage. Nevis have orange gems instead of the normal red gems we've seen throughout the beginning of the game, and that just basically means that they have a little bit more health. Sometimes they're stronger when they have orange gems, like they attack a little bit more often, but basically that's the most important thing, is if you see those orange gems, it means they have more health. So this fight is a lot of these swordfish, as you can see, that are just actively trying to attack you and dodge your moves. Oh boy, he's got... Ooh.
Man, buddy, you played
Okay.
with fire.
Yeah, so, man, he's like... Oh my gosh,
God.
he's about to die.
Come on, man.
Okay.
During
Okay,
practice,
I think he's
Bunny
okay.
died like 4 times, including the intentional death. So,
okay, he's able to evade that.
good to see he's
attack.
doing okay now.
Oh my gosh. As you can see, everyone's just coming at you from every different angle.
That dragon is really not letting up.
Yeah, he doesn't. He shoots quite often. So basically what Bunny's going to try to do is position for a Typhoon, but the dragon, you can get what's called Typhoon canceled if the dragon or the swordfish attack you. Oh my goodness, he's almost dead again! No! He died!
Well, this is a big opportunity for Muffin to catch up, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, so Muffin here, this is the normal route that you would take in the game, where now we just Typhoon this fight directly instead of doing the flip clip and killing yourself. Because Muffin actually has more HP, killing yourself would be more difficult. It would take more Spinies to do it, so this is actually the faster route for him to take, based on the situation that he was at, because he failed one of the deaths from health and gained some health from that. It also allows you to pick up these extra gems along this path. It's only maybe collectively like 10 seconds slower, mostly because actually the Typhoon that you have to use to beat that fight quickly. So, but you also get a lot more gems as a result, so it's not, it's really just kind of preference as to which route to take. They're both very good.
It's very much a trade-off.
Wow. Okay, so now Bunny, as you can see, the Ascent fight is definitely a very challenging fight. One of the most difficult fights in the
Many runs have been lost to the Ascent fight.
Yes, sir. Trust me. And now we got Muffin coming up to let her fight.
Yeah. The Ascent in general is just one of the more frustrating...
Buddy, please don't die again. You're not gonna go pick up health? Okay. Alright, so let's see. He's gonna use Typhoon.
Oh god, that was so close!
Jeez! This man's playing with my heart! Okay, alright, Muffin's getting Typhoon back. So he killed those Spinies, made sure he took care of them, then he's gonna Typhoon here. Okay, alright. Bunny's made it through. He survived the onslaught that is known as the Ascent.
Yeah, I was in the middle of saying, because those two fights are so complicated and just overwhelming, the Ascent can be one of the most frustrating chapters. Not for just ridiculous platforming like in episode 15, but just for really difficult and like precise combat. Because it's a very combat-centric episode, and a lot of that combat can just be really brutal. Because it's such... There's a lot of really high-powered enemies, and you're still at level 1 health. So it gets real scary sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, so now Bunny got our final upgrade in the game. He upgraded to Stasis 4. And he was... we're going to be using that for this upcoming Sensors chapter. And the only thing you'd need upgrades for now is any health upgrades you may need. So what's convenient is you can actually pause the game and use a health upgrade, and it will fully heal you as well as increase your health. So that's kind of like an emergency health potion that we could use at any point in the game. Of course, you have to have the gems to be able to do it. But level 1 health only costs 50, and level 2 only costs 150, so it's pretty cheap.
Yeah. I've definitely...
Okay.
Saved
it's looking like a really good Ascent fight coming from Muffin.
Oh yeah, he's doing it. Like, he's doing it to him. Like, that's the first time I've seen him take damage.
So those little puffers always drop health in this fight, and the swordfish always drop blue gems, so that's good.
Commentator's curse. We started watching him, and he's doing bad.
No!
Ooh,
Please!
nice! Baiting that evade from swordfish so that he has an opportunity to kick him.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, that's why, like, since the swordfish will actively try to dodge you, sometimes it's best to just wait out their attack, because after their attack they're vulnerable and they don't move. Okay, and then he's gonna be typhooning. He just needs to safely position himself. Ah! Okay, because the dragon will shoot out an insane amount of bullets, and if you are in the startup of Typhoon and you get hit out of it, that's like a solid, like, minute time loss that can happen.
It's
But Bunny, Muffin gained his distance, playing it safe, able to kill the dragon. Alright, he got through a scent fight, and didn't die, thank God. So, as you can see, Bunny over here looking at sensors, he's going to be going over and setting these sensors. If you get hit at all while you're holding these sensors, you do drop them, and then they respawn all the way back in the base, and you have to go and pick them up, which is why he uses Typhoon in the first fight, or the lower fight, and then now he's coming up to the fight that only has about 3 enemies. They're not too aggressive, so it's not a big concern, but it is something to know, because if you accidentally get hit by like a little stray bullet coming from one of these guys, that can make you drop the sensors. But of course he curves his gravity kick around it and is able to place the sensor. So good stuff coming from Bunny.
That is something you can do, and that comes into play quite often. Speedrun.
Ooh, using the ledge warp, showing off the tech.
Right.
I want to talk about that real quick. So that's actually a technique that we discovered called the ledge warp. So if Kat pulls herself up from a ledge when she puts her first foot down on the ledge, if you pause and unpause the game, Kat will void out, no matter what. As long as you're in an episode where you can void. That has kind of like set boundaries, she'll void out, and we don't really understand why it works. It's maybe if you perfect ledge warp right when you set the sensor, it's about a 2 to 3 second time save. But it's a very cool technique, and it's a lot more useful in different routes like 100% or like low percent when you don't have a lot of gauge. You can cover some distance by ledge warping. Oh, he's doing it again. This man's showing it off. All right, not bad.
He's trying to be optimal.
Fans. It's for the fans. Okay, so again, he's picking up this sensor, and now he's gonna be kicking these bone flowers. Now this is kind of... Okay, yeah, if you double kick the bone, you can RGK the flower, but you're trying to not get hit. That's the most important thing, because then he's gonna drop the sensor, and then if he drops the sensor, he has to go all the way back down to pick it up. So he's just playing extra cautious. Oh. Aww, unfortunate. Alright, so Muffin able to place that second sensor. They're still pretty close. Maybe about like a minute and a half or so apart right now. But let's see. I mean, if Bunny's definitely in a pretty sizable lead, but you never know. He's still got level 1 health. Yeah. So if he gets hit like by those sharks, if both of those sharks hit you at level 1 health, you will instantly die. Yeah. They just chunk you. Yeah, they deal so much damage, and we are at the point where having level 1 health is incredibly risky, because everything's just out to get you. There's a bunch of Nemi and all the Nemi. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. You need to focus on those Spinies to make sure that you kill them as soon as possible. So he's using Typhoon. Once he kills this second swordfish, the swordfish that just spawned now, it will spawn a dragon. So he's actually decided to not save the Typhoon for dragon. Oh my gosh. He better pick up punch. Man.
Oh, he got hit again.
Okay, he's playing safe. He learned from his mistakes.
Please.
Okay, able to kick the dragon. As you can see, the dragon's like turning around, and then like the way that it positions its wings, sometimes it can block its gems on its back. Okay, he's able to get it pretty
solid quickly. Dragon by Bunny. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good kicks. Okay. All right, now Muffin is carrying over. He's activating the last sensor.
This whole mission, like this one mission, is the reason we pick up stasis level 4. By the way, if you were wondering, just because there's 4 sensors you pick up at one time, and you want to be able to pick them all up at the same time.
And now he's carrying around. What's his name? Adrio. Adreux, I don't know how to say it. Anyway, so he's this weird scientist guy, and he just wants you to carry him everywhere. He literally wants you to carry him all the way up to the giant clock tower because he doesn't have a watch. I don't know why he can't see it, but whatever. And then he needs you to go back down. He's like, oh wait, never mind, now I gotta go up here, I'm gonna be late for my meeting. And so after carrying him all the way around, we finally finish episode 18.
But what's funny is there's actually a story reason behind that, because in the 1 year time skip, because the story isn't convoluted enough, it needed a skip.
Oh yeah, we had a time skip. In case you didn't notice.
The mayor of the town has become this like military dictator kind of thing, so the whole town has become a sort of police state. And the scientist, like Adrio, he works for the dictator general dude, and so he was secretly scouting Kat's powers to be like, oh no, she won't be a threat, kind of thing. But how wrong they end up being.
Oh yes.
Anyways,
indeed.
Bunny
Looks
Power.
like Muffin unfortunately missed the spiny as well. He wasn't able to get it in time.
It hurts. It hurts.
It does.
So Bunny is in one of my least favorite sections of the game. We call this Panther Fights. It's a series of 5 Nevi waves, and if you die in any of the waves from like either the first or the 4th wave, or the 3rd or 2nd, then you get taken all the way back to the beginning, which really hurts if you're speedrunning this game, because
definitely.
That's a lot of time to make back.
Yeah, dying during the 4th Panther fight is actually the most costly death in the entire game. It will be well over 2 minutes.
Yeah,
if you die during that section. So it's incredibly important to make sure you play this safe. They give you a lot of health gems. Both enemies drop a lot of health gems in the fights, as well as there's just kind of health gems scattered. And as we mentioned before, you also have the health potion upgrade in case of emergency. But sometimes you're just in the zone and you're like, oh, he's almost dead, and then and then you're like, yeah, I definitely should have done that. But yeah, basically we need to take out these waves. So we picked up the first 10 cats. The technical directive of the mission is to find all of Dusty. I don't exactly understand
I don't
why
know.
Dusty splits into multiple parts. I think this is also a dream, but I don't know.
Yeah.
This game's definitely questionable when it comes to some story-related things.
Oh yeah, some of the story writers were on a little something. I don't know what, but
Yeah.
I want some of it.
So anyway, the first fight has 1 cat. Now this will have 2 cats, then 3, then 4 to pick up the last ones. But you need to get these cats. Basically, you just kind of need to stand there and let them come to you, and then move on from there.
Yeah.
Please, Bunny. Oh my gosh, he's already in half.
God, Bunny.
Oh, please.
The
Bunny's
mad
just
lad.
like, oh, time costly death? All right, let me show you how it's done. Oh no.
That commentator's curse right there.
Maybe.
Oh, come on, get that spiny. My boy.
All right, nice. Okay, so he's picking up the bench at the same time he picks up the cat, just so you can use it to break a bone. It's actually just a convenient little optimization there. Gets the cat come to him, gets this other cat. All right, we're chilling.
There's a glitch where if you get like 2 cats at the same time, it'll just sort of be following you while you're still moving, and like you have to wait for it to catch up to you. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, that first cat. Yeah, that top cat, if you like press L1 so you trigger the cat but then fall down to get the second cat, and then you get the second cat first, you can like move, but the other cat has to catch up for you before the next fight spawns.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen to Bunny, he's chilling.
Not
Up
this
next,
time.
after we kill this frog, there's actually going to be a mantis and a golem that spawn. So the good old Taeon or mantis, the first boss that we fought, is now just a regular old enemy. What we do is we break his head, and then we actually go for the golem, because the golem has, first of all, a longer death animation, so you want to try to kill him first. But secondly, the mantis will actually try to attack you, and in the process, attack the golem for you. Sometimes, it depends on the attack that he picks. So, oh no! Okay.
Come on, Bunny.
Looks like it lagged a little bit.
Yeah,
Hopefully
he's still
it doesn't.
streaming. It's just lagging.
All right. Well, anyway, let's go to Muffin then. He's starting up the Panther fights right now. Okay, so that's basically the first 4 waves. So now we're past the scary part. So Bunny, since he didn't die, will be fine, because right after he picks up this last cat, there's going to be another autosave. So now it's the 5th and final wave, which is just 2 golems and a swordfish that he's just mostly going to be using Gravity Typhoon and then kicking for the rest of it.
It's pretty straightforward. By the way, when you die, you respawn at the last autosave you get. And this game's autosaves very often, which is really nice, especially when you die during a speedrun. Then you usually end up back close to where you died from.
Yeah.
So deaths usually aren't that costly. It's just Panther fights in particular is super costly, because you don't get an autosave until this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Barney, in the middle of lagging and risking it for the biscuit because he's at half health, trying to dance with this swordfish. It's crazy.
Okay, looks like he was able to beat the
Yeah, he
bandit.
got it. He got it.
He made it through!
I'm gonna reload. Well, now it's gonna look like they're a lot closer.
Okay, let's see. So, Muffin able to get that spiny, goes for that cat. I got an ad playing over Bunny's stream, so I can't see it right now since I refreshed. No!
My boy.
This is very important. That's okay, I'll just watch Muffin for the time being. Oh! Nice job double kicking the pillar there. Oh, he's pretty low on gauge, but there's a blue gem right there, so he should be chilling. Alright, nice. Okay. Yeah, looks like Bunny's back up and running. And he's starting the last episodes. Okay, so what Bunny's about to attempt, assuming he does it, I'm just gonna wait before I actually talk about it. Okay, so what he's going to be doing is a glitch we call Quiet Cat. So this was recently discovered by Wired Notes, and well, it was kind of a collective effort of the community to understand the utilization of the glitch, but the initial glitch was discovered by Wired Notes. So what he's doing is he holds the tab page and keeps the pause menu open while he's reloading, while he's going to the main menu. So... And then when he loads the save, Kat will be put in this special state where she doesn't make sound effects. 2, she can't, okay, good, yeah, he got it. She can't double kick, which is really strange. 2 most important things, though. She's completely invincible, so she just can't take damage and you can't get knocked back, as you see that punch just went straight through him. As well, you cannot, Spiral Claw does a very strange interaction where it will instantly kill anything that it touches. And it also won't target anything after it kills the initial thing. So
there's also a weird quirk to the glitch if we switch the audio to Bunny's stream, where there are no sound effects. It's just music.
Yeah, hence the name Quiet Cat, because she doesn't make any sound. So there are some sound effects that will happen, like when you trigger like a waypoint appearing and things, but like enemy sound effects and cat sound effects just don't happen. You also can't pause, and you also can't interact with anything. So like if there's a mission to start, the menu to come up to like start the mission just doesn't happen. So what would happen normally, the reason why we only use this in the final episode is because you would need to completely close the application and reopen it and then launch the autosave in order to progress. But because this is the final episode and we won't be needing to use the pause menu or trigger any other like menu related things, we use Quiet Cat in this final episode.
It also helps because it keeps you from dying, so you don't need to pause to do a health upgrade.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's very nice.
Yeah, I like this glitch a lot because I used to die a lot in this episode.
It's a very interesting and strange glitch. Like, I don't really understand why it works the way it does, but hey, we take those.
Yeah, if it works, it works.
So I believe that Muffin will not be using Quiet Cat because he's not okay. So because Quiet Cat takes around like 20 to 30 seconds to set up because you need to pause, quit to the main menu, hold the page, then load back into the save. And it saves time on both the Unica fight and the final boss fight. It's around like the same amount of time as if you weren't to use Quiet Cat. So it's at this point, as far as like how much we've discovered and what we've discussed and optimized, basically it's kind of up to preference. So I know Singnng Muffin's not as big of a fan as Quiet Cat because if you do Quiet Cat wrong, like let's say you hold the pause menu too long, the game will just hard crash on you when you try to load the save, and that of course will waste significant amount of time. And I even lost a PB sub 130 run to Quiet Cat not working properly because when it loaded me back into the game, it just didn't load me into the game. So you really hate to see it. So it definitely has its own risks. It does make, like, you'll see the power of Spiral Claw here. Basically, Unica's gonna get hit a bunch, and then after that comes up, he's gonna cancel, he's gonna void himself out to kind of kick her back into position, and then she's just gonna immediately go to the place where she dies.
There is an alternative to using Quiet Cat in that fight, though, that is a really quick kill on Unica, which Probably.
We'll hopefully see
Muffin.
Muffin. Muffin will attempt. It's significantly more strict as far as the timing goes and difficult to pull off.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, and it's based on which pattern she picks, but it's pretty much equally as fast. It's maybe the worst pattern's about 30 seconds slower, and the best pattern's about 15 or 10 seconds slower. So, but yeah, basically both options. And because, like we said, Quiet Cat takes about 30 seconds to set up, it more or less balances itself out with the final episode, depending on where you want to go with it. So we're going to pick up those objects, and this is another one of those unskippable cutscenes. It's not because you can't, it's like a cutscene you can't skip, it's just that the cutscene's so short that the time to skip it just doesn't come up. Okay, so in this state, basically what he can't, what's sad is he can't double kick here because this is actually a pretty good boss to use double kicks on. But when Spiral Claw comes back up, he can use it and it will just instantly kill the boss. So you should see him use it right now. Boop. Just breaks the gem.
Bam.
No matter how much health they have. While you're in Quiet Cat, there's also it also affects the UI, so you can't see the boss's health. But it's really not that big of a deal because you can't die anyway, so it's not like a huge, like, oh no, look, he's about to attack me. Boom. Oh, he broke the gem too fast. I was gonna make a joke.
You also have like some idea of the amount of health he has thing based on like the color of the gems and how many gems. So it's not a huge deal that you can't see his health. It would be more of a big deal in the next phase of the final boss, but then Spiral Claw just kind of takes care of him for you.
Okay, also, he's attempting Quiet Cat right now, singing Muffin. So here, right now, he basically puts her in a specific position. Now he wants to time the Spiral Claw right when the text box comes up. Perfect, he got it. Nice. So basically, right when that text box comes up, if you use Spiral Claw on her, it interacts the same way or very similar to how Quiet Cat does. So he was able to use, he saw the pattern, was able to adjust accordingly, and then got the Spiral Claw the perfect timing to get Quick Unica, so he was able to save some good time there. That fight outside of those clawings is pretty obnoxious, because she moves around a lot, and it's really hard to kick her consistently, kind of like how Raven worked, but you can't kick her into the ground like you can Raven, so she's definitely annoying. So having both the Quick Kill and the Quiet Cat Quick Kill are incredibly helpful in that fight.
Yeah, because she even with Quick Unica, like that becomes the biggest portion of RNG in the run, hands down.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, Bunny's at a little mini auto scroller in the final boss. There's really nothing you can do here. Give him gravity slide right there. You're just kind of waiting for this cutscene to trigger.
Yeah, and you saw him kind of randomly use Spiral Claw. The reason for that is actually because when you trigger this gauge triangle press here, it depletes your special gauge, but it doesn't actually deplete the gauge if it's already taken, like it doesn't reset the timer, and we actually want Spiral Claw to come up because it takes out the first half of the boss's health immediately. So you'll see it comes up right now based on the timing that Bunny used, and now he'll be able to use Spiral Claw and take out half the boss's health. Also, he's going to be attempting the one cycle of this boss, which is incredibly strict on timing, not to mention if he does it too early, if he goes to Raven too early here, he can actually soft lock, or, well, kind of the boss will remain idle to the point where he might need to reload the autosave. However, and he also can't see the health, and if not, he'll just have to go to Unica if he doesn't deal enough damage quickly enough. So you see Raven appear, then he wants to wait about 5 seconds after Raven appears before actually baiting the boss over to her. I think his timing should be fine, because the boss kind of just went over her.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It's gonna be okay. Is he able to get it?
This is really tense because we can't see the health.
Yeah, it is. Oh, he was like one hit off probably, I bet. So as soon as he gets to Unica, Unica's gonna deal the remainder of the damage, should deal the remainder of the damage, and then we'll be coming up on time for Bunny. But I think we should wait on time until Muffin finishes.
Yeah.
Probably.
I agree. We want to finish the race at least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay, so this is it.
And then time happens on
boom,
that
time on the triangle press. So yeah, Bunny able to finish the race. First, got around a 1:34.15, I'd say. That's a really good time. And then we just got Muffin waiting for this auto-scroller. So Muffin's going to be actually having to deal 9 gravity kicks since he's not in the Quiet Cat state. He'll have to do 9 gravity kicks on the final boss before triggering the part where he goes to Raven, so it should take him a bit more time. But definitely good stuff coming from Bunny. That blows up on him, bro. Okay, so here we go. Doing that final part. She just throws this big ball of, I don't even know what, that's like a giant gravity ball storm thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got 9 gravity kicks here. Let's see, hopefully Muffin might be able to save some time and get the 1 cycle.
Maybe. Also, story-wise, just to kind of close out the story for you, the merciless dictator is like, we don't need Cat anymore, we have this giant Nevi-fying thing that's...
An enemy.
It was a Nevi.
It
It was a Nevi? What are you talking about? Basically, he's saying that, like, you don't need Cat to protect the people from the Nevi anymore because you have this giant thing to kill them for you. And that's what the whole, like, auto-scroller Nevi fight was before Unica. And so, it turns out it's a giant Nevi, and it goes haywire because, you know, that's what happens when you mess around with technology involving enemies. And Cat has to save the day with
Scary.
the help of Raven and Unica.
Also, because of Quiet Cat, his UI is over the credits. It's really weird.
Really funny to me.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Can Muffin get the 1 cycle? Whoa, he starts off with Gravity Typhoon because it does extra bonus damage.
Got it.
1 more kick? Nice! Let's go, Muffin.
It's
Good
your
stuff.
boy.
It's your boy. So,
And time.
Alright. Let's see, what do we get? About a 136-ish.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, here, I'm watching the stream. Yeah, 136.29. Not bad times either way.
Good stuff. Coming from Bunny Power and Singnng Muffin. 2 fantastic runners.
Straight up.
Hope you guys really enjoyed watching this race. So, yeah, I mean...
Thank you so much to Fleet Fest for having us. This was a blast.
Definitely.
And thank you all who are watching now or in future or whenever. Thank you for tuning in. This is a great game. If you're ever interested in it, just hit us up on speedrun.com. You'll find a written guide. And is there a link to your video guide there too?
Yeah, you should be able to find, if you go to speedrun.com, you can find the links to our Discord, as well as our other resources. And then you'll be able to find, like, I have a beginner's guide that's out on my channel, just Steve the Wizard on YouTube. We have a video guide for beginners getting into the game, as well as all the other resources you need would be in our Discord.
We've got some really comprehensive guides for the modern route, so it's not quite as modern as what you hear, but it's a lot of really beginner-friendly strats, and it's a really good way to get into the speed run. And this is a really, really fun speed game.
All right, so what we're going to do right now is me and Googe are actually going to hop off, and then we'll let Bunny and Muffin come on so they can just talk to you guys for a little bit, the 2 runners that did the race. So, again, thanks so much for having us. We had a blast, and we will see you guys later.
Yeah, see you later. Thank you so much.
Hey. GG. Singnng's gonna come soon. But well, for me, that was really fun.
Hey, what up?
Hey, Singnng.
GG's.
GG's.
That was like... It was... Okay, so we did a practice run before it, and both of us were just making a lot of, like, mistakes.
Big mistakes.
For both of us.
Yeah.
But that race was just both of us just kind of playing solid. There wasn't... I think the biggest mistake for me was Missing Straggler, and then we both messed up on Nushi too.
Yeah, and my biggest was obviously just dying in Ascent, like the big dragon fight. That was huge.
Oh yeah,
But
you did
that
that.
doesn't matter. It was a fun run. Thanks
Yeah.
everyone for watching, and a special thanks to Emerald Ellie for just making this happen.
Yeah. We've been wanting to do a race of Gravity Rush for a while somewhere.
Yeah,
And
this is the first one.
yeah, she gave us the opportunity for a good cause. I hope there's been a lot of good, fun donations towards the Belgium food bank, the Bellingham. I can't read, but the food bank.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks for those also.
so yeah, enjoy the rest of the marathon. Continue to donate and support this great marathon, and we're gonna head out because I believe for Bunny it's like 2 a.m.
Yeah, no big deal. I mean, anyone.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for that amazing race. That was really a lot of fun. It's definitely a game that I've enjoyed playing and watching, and I look forward to seeing some more from you guys in the future.
Yeah,
Awesome.
cool.
Glad you
Thanks
enjoyed.
for having us.
All right, gonna get
Thanks.
set up for the next run now.